And it's Kim Kreitzer for Cadets Media. We cover cadets, midshipmen, military, and veterans proudly since 2008. And it's Army-Navy week. And cadets are going to play Navy up at Gillette Stadium on Saturday, 3 o'clock start. And we have a chance to talk to a former Army football player and a former West Point first captain. And that is Brandon Whittington. Brandon, how are you today? Good to see you.
I'm doing great, Ken. Thanks for having me. It's good to see you after it's been so long, and blessed for this opportunity to speak with you.
Yeah. Now you were class of 2013 and played in you unfortunately didn't play in the 2012 Army Navy game. You had an injury, but what you did do was lead the Corps cadets on the field for the famed March On. I always remember seeing you there. Tell us what's your memory of having led the Corps for the March On.
The March On's always such a big deal. We pride ourselves in, keeping those lines tight and going out there and really setting the tone for how we want the rest of the day to go. Honestly, it was a extremely humbling experience walking out there, and it wasn't just me; it was that entire brigade. So it's definitely a humbling experience to walk out there. Everybody's always excited as we're going out, and it's truly just a blessing to be able to do it. To know what that represents, the people that have gone before us and have set the standard for what it means to be a member of the Corps Cadets. So it was just a humbling experience to kind of culminate there at the Army Navy game.
Got to ask you, you see the first captain and the leadership of each company going out marching, and they never look back. They just know everybody's following the way they're supposed to be. Is that the way it works? Is it just a result of a lot of practice?
Yeah, definitely what it is. Practice and preparation, you get results out on the field, right? Both for the football team and for the Corps during the March On. So we do spend a lot of time, as you well know, throughout the year doing parades before the game. And this is kind of the final show that we get to do of the academy as a whole. How we represent the football team, how we represent each other, and all that practice and hard work pays off on game day for us as well.
Absolutely. Well, you're 10 years out in the U.S. Army. Congratulations on being
Thank you.
named a major in the U.S. Army, a key step forward in your career. Tell us a little bit
Thank
about
you.
the steps of your career since graduation.
Yep. So the day after graduation, my wife and I got married there in the cadet chapel. So not only 10 years of the Army, but we also celebrated our 10-year anniversary. We've got two wonderful kids, my son Jackson, who's 7, my beautiful daughter Joanna, who will be 2 in March. So 10 years of marriage and 2 wonderful kids. Life is going good in that regard. So, that was one of the benefits of going to West Point, not just an outstanding education and a great career in the Army, but a beautiful wife and a wonderful family. So that first and foremost, just to highlight. But after graduation and the wedding, I went to flight school down at Fort Rucker, Alabama, where I qualified in the H-64 Apache. I spent about 4 years in the 101st as a platoon leader, and then eventually finishing my time off there as the 217 Cav Squadron Logistics Officer, the S4. I assessed favorably for the 160th Special Ops Aviation Regiment. I went off to Fort Benning and completed the captain's career course. And then once that concluded, I was back up to Fort Campbell, which is where I did my Apache time as well. Back up to Fort Campbell to start the training pipeline for the 160th. And I've been in the 160th ever since. So I fly the H-6 Little Bird over in 1st Battalion 160th. And I've been there ever since, like I said. So I will be returning there at the completion of the Air Command and Staff College, which is where I'm at right now for ILE. And I should be back up to Campbell in June of 24. So really looking forward to that.
Yeah. Have your missions taken you overseas at all?
Yep. I've deployed 3 times with the 160th and once with the 101st.
What was that experience like? Is anything you can share? My father deployed to Italy in World War II and didn't talk much about it, but talked about sightseeing. Anything you can say about what it was like to be deployed, serving in the U.S. Army?
The best part about the Army is the teammates you're surrounded by. both men and women. I've had the privilege of working with some outstanding soldiers and some wonderful leaders. I've been extremely blessed to have those leaders kind of watch over me and help shape and mold me. Some great mentors that have really helped shape and develop my career. So I'm extremely blessed for that opportunity. The opportunity to deploy, it's what you train for, right? It's like practicing throughout the week and then going out on Saturdays and watching Army beat Navy, right? It's one of those things you train for, and it's awesome to have the opportunity to go serve in that capacity.
Very good. Well, thank you for your service to our country, being on the front lines. Let's talk a little football. What was sort of like some of the highlights of your career? You were a defensive back for Army. I remember you
Yep.
well. What were some of the highlights for you?
Some highlights. I was not sure if you remember this or not, Ken, but I was a walk-on. So I went to USMAPS back when it was down at Fort Monmouth, New Jersey, and had the opportunity
Yeah.
to kind of walk on and play that 10-game season there. Was able to make the team freshman year. I was on the practice squad, so I ended up taking a stat class that summer to spend some time with the strength and conditioning team to see what I could do to hopefully earn a spot on the varsity roster and travel, which I was able to do sophomore year through senior year. So yuck year through first year. Some of the highlights, some great friends on the team. When Coach Ellerson came in my freshman year, sophomore year, we made it to a bowl game. We beat SMU in the Armed Forces Bowl. I think that was the first time Army had a winning record in a long time. So kind of bringing that pride and tradition back into the core. Being excited to be a part of football games again. I would say winning the Armed Forces Bowl was a big highlight. And then my first year beating Air Force, which is the first time we beat, one of the sister service academies in a while. And to do it at home in Michie Stadium was an awesome experience. And really set us up for a great Army Navy my senior year. Unfortunately, we lost that game, but we were playing for the CIC trophy, which was just awesome to see the trophy in the stadium, to know we had an opportunity that unfortunately we weren't able to capitalize on, but just to play for it. And it was just special.
Very good. Very good. Is there something that you learned playing Army football that has really helped you in your career as a helicopter pilot in the Army?
Yeah, I would say there's a lot of things. I think the biggest thing is, we can't go anywhere in life on our own. Just like, being on a team, you can't win a football game with one great player. You need 11 guys on the field working together to accomplish a goal. And I think that translates extremely well into the Army. I can't do anything by myself as a pilot. I need my co-pilot. I need that logistics team. You need things in places at the right time to be able to, execute, which is everything you try to do on the football field, right? So being able to trust and rely on those around you, especially in the special ops community, we operate in smaller teams than you would in the conventional. So it's looking to your left and right. It's building that small team and that small group to be effective. Those are things that I carry with me this day from, what I learned my 4 years playing Army football.
That's terrific. We are very pleased to work with the Special Operations Warrior Foundation, great organization out of Tampa, Florida, raises money for scholarships and mentors, sons and daughters of fallen special ops community members. And it's a great activity for a very special part of the U.S. military. Hey, when you look at this year's team, they had a tough stretch in the middle of the season, playing a couple of Power 5 games, actually 3 in a short amount of time, and then has really played well the last 3 games, starting with the win at Air Force, 17-point underdog. They win 23-3. Bryson Daly really put together a nice game, and then they beat Holy Cross, and then changed the offense a little bit, went back to pound the ball football, and won that game against a very good Coastal Carolina team. What's your read on this year's Army football team?
Yeah, I think beginning of the season, some of the changes that we had to go through with the new NCAA rules, which there's been plenty of articles that have, kind of covered that, kind of some growth and some learning. But in typical Coach Monken led teams, they get better as the season goes on. I was able to go out to the LSU game and be on the field for a little bit before the game, watch everybody warm up. Unfortunately, the outcome of that game was pretty rough. But since then, I think that was a great learning opportunity to go play, a big SEC school and kind of tighten things up as the season went on. You mentioned the Holy Cross game, Coastal Carolina. To me, it was awesome being surrounded by the Air Force officers that I am. A lot of Air Force Academy grads in class with me every day. There's a football player where we had some overlap, and we actually, realized we played each other a couple times. So it was nice to see, Air Force had an 8-0 season ranked, and they haven't won a game since they played Army. So some good bragging rights for me down here with these guys. But you hit the nail on the head. They put together this great stretch, playing well together, improving where they need to improve, and I really like our odds going into this game.
Well, I was just up at practice yesterday, and I see a team that is all set to play a very good game. I think it's interesting. They brought back the option offense in the Coastal game, and emphasizing the fullbacks Tyson Riley and Jacoby
Yep.
Buchanan, and got Tyrell Robinson to pitch the ball to. They've
Yep.
got some players. Noah Short's been doing some great things on offense.
They do.
But you're a
Yeah, a lot
defensive
of
guy.
talent.
What are the guys that stand out on defense for you?
The unit as a whole, I like all the pieces that they've got, young in some spots, but with some veteran leadership. I don't want to single out one guy. I really want to build up the team as we go into this game because that's what's going to get it done. Not just one person, but all 11. But I think, just like the offense has progressed throughout the season, that defense has progressed throughout the season as well. So I'm eager to watch this game. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make it up to Boston, just with being separated from my family as I am right now. But looking forward to sitting down with my wife, who's my classmate. We've got a neighbor who is a former Marine Sergeant Major who likes to fly his Go Navy flag this time of year. So we're looking forward to a good game, and I'm looking forward to rubbing in another Army win in his face Saturday night.
Okay. Brandon, final question. Is there a favorite moment you think back on from your days at West Point, perhaps playing football or the moment you had as first captain?
Man, it's hard to pick one. I think the day I was notified about being, named the first captain was during summer camp. So that was a cool experience to be around my teammates when the leadership came down to let me know. We had Chris Bolt as well, who was our punter, who was named the first regiment commander at the same time. So it wasn't just me. Just being able to share that moment with another teammate and my teammates as a whole. That was a pretty special moment. It sounds kind of like an individual recognition, but those guys on the team, shaped the cadet I was and the person I was. So being able to share in that moment with them was really special because it wasn't just representative of me, it was representative of the team as a whole and the type of leaders and people that we were building in our program as well. So that was a really special moment. If I could share a moment with you, since being in the Army, one of the coolest things, you mentioned getting to lead the Corps out for the March On, getting to play in those games. 2 years ago, when the game was at Met Life Sradium in New York, I got to lead the flyover. That was a 160th flyover. They were commemorating Task Force Dagger and 20 years of the war in Afghanistan post 9/11. So they were wearing uniforms to kind of pay homage to those first American soldiers that went into Afghanistan post 9/11, and the regiment, the 160th, was there, taking people to the targets. So that was really cool to be the lead aircraft in the Little Bird that flew over the stadium, and kind of like a great culmination of getting to lead the Corps out as the first captain. getting to play football and represent the academy in that regard, and then coming back as a commissioned officer and getting to fly over, it was just a great culmination, of my time and my association with West Point. So I was definitely really honored to do that.
That is a great thing to be able to do after leading the Corps into the Army Navy game, to then do the helicopter flyover representing the U.S. Army. What a neat moment that must have been. Did you land and then come back to the stadium that day?
Yes, sir. So we landed at an airport close by, and we had a police escort for us to the stadium so we could go watch the game. So great experience. Like I said, just life is full circle sometimes, and that was one of those moments for me. So it was a very cool moment.
Brandon Whittington from the West Point class of 2013, first captain his senior year, Army football player, and now a major in the U.S. Army, advancing your career. Just great to talk with you. I hope we can do this again down the road.
Thanks, Ken. It was good to see you again, and I appreciate your time.
Great to see you, and really thank you for your service to our country. You've done a lot, and I know you're progressing towards even more great accomplishments in the U.S. Army. My dad, a World War II Army officer, would be very proud of your career.
I appreciate that, Ken. Thank you very much.
Great to see you. It's Ken Kreitzer for Camp Vets Media. We cover cadets, midship, in the military, and veterans proudly since 2008. And glad to talk with Major Brandon Whittington. And we will see you at Foxborough for the Army-Navy game. Thanks for watching.
Go Army.